Every year, on one exact day, the sun touches this ancient pyramid, and a serpent begins to appear, not made of stone, not made of blood, made of light. Triangles of shadow locked together, sliding down the staircase, connecting with the serpent's stone head waiting at the base. A few minutes later, it disappears. But the frightening part isn't the serpent. It's the fact that it appears on the exact day, at the exact time, for more than 1,000 years. And if you think that's just a coincidence, then you still don't know what this pyramid really is. The structure you just saw stands at Chichén Itzá in the northern Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. That pyramid is called El Castillo, the castle, a name given later by the Spanish. But its original name is the Temple of Kukulkan, dedicated to the feathered serpent god, Kukulkan. Standing about 79 feet tall, with 4 nearly perfectly symmetrical sides and positioned at the very center of the ancient city, it is the most powerful symbol of authority in Chichén Itzá. And for centuries, people didn't just come here to pray. They came to witness time in motion. Let's explore the most fascinating truths about Chichén Itzá. 365 steps when time is frozen in stone. If you stand before El Castillo and count each step, you'll find that each side has 91 steps. 91 times 4 sides, plus the platform at the top where the temple stands. Total 365. Sound familiar? 365 days. 1 year. That number is not accidental. The Maya didn't just build a pyramid. They built a massive calendar. Every step you climb is a day of the year. And here's what's interesting. This pyramid has no front side. All 4 sides are identical because time has no preferred direction. It cycles, just like the way the Maya saw the world. But if it were only 365 steps, that would just be a number. What makes this structure unsettling is the way sunlight makes time move. The serpent of light, twice a year during the spring and fall equinox. The sun doesn't just shine on El Castillo. It draws something. When sunlight strikes the edges of the northern staircase, triangles of shadow begin to form, piece by piece, linking together, creating a long zigzag pattern. That pattern stretches down the staircase to a carved stone serpent head waiting at the bottom for more than 1,000 years. For a few brief minutes, the full serpent appears. No smoke, no mirrors, no modern technology, just the sun and a design so precise it's almost unsettling. The god Kukulkan, the feathered serpent, is not fully carved into stone. He is activated by light. What does that mean? It means the Maya didn't just build a temple to worship a god. They made the god appear on command. And once you understand that, you begin to wonder, if they could control light, what else were they controlling? The sound of a sacred bird. Now try something simple. Stand in front of El Castillo and clap your hands. You won't just hear an echo. The sound hits the stone steps, reflects back, and transforms into something unusual. High, sharp, brief. Researchers have documented that this echo closely resembles the call of the Quetzal, a sacred bird in Maya culture. Here's the strange part. If you speak normally, the effect isn't nearly as clear as when you clap, which means the staircase itself filters sound in a very specific way. This pyramid wasn't designed only to be seen. It was designed to be heard. Light creates the serpent. Sound creates the sacred bird, both tied to divine symbolism. So the question becomes, is all of this coincidence? Or were the Maya truly programming stone in ways we still don't fully understand. A pyramid. Inside a pyramid. If you think El Castillo is only what you see, it's not. Archaeologists discovered something remarkable inside. This is not the original structure. El Castillo was built on top of at least 2 older pyramids, like a stone Russian nesting doll. Each generation didn't demolish the previous structure. They wrapped it, encased it, preserved it inside. What does that mean? The center of power never moved. Only its outer shell evolved with time. Deep within, an older temple still rests in darkness. Today, those inner chambers are closed to the public for preservation, which means when you stand before El Castillo, you're only seeing the outermost layer of a multi-layered history. And maybe the most fascinating part isn't what appears in the light. It's what remains hidden inside. Kukulkan, when light becomes power. El Castillo is actually the temple of Kukulkan. Kukulkan, the feathered serpent, a being of earth and sky. When the serpent of light appears on the equinox, exactly at the predicted time, that's not just religion, that's power. Because who knew the exact day the god would descend? Who stood in the plaza and announced the moment? When you can predict the movement of the sun, you don't just understand the sky. You control belief. But in Chichén Itzá, power didn't come only from light. It also came from somewhere deeper, where there are no steps, only dark water, and offerings sinking to the bottom. The sacred cenote. Not far from El Castillo lies a massive natural sinkhole. The Maya called it a cenote. No rivers, no lakes. Water meant survival. But the sacred cenote was more than a water source. When archaeologists dredged its depths in the early 20th century, they found gold, jade, jewelry, weapons, and human remains. These objects did not fall by accident. They were offerings. Because to the Maya, water didn't just sustain life. It was a gateway to the gods. And if you already had a pyramid controlling light, rituals shaping belief, you also needed a way to connect with the sky in another way. Not through water, through the stars. El Caracol, where they watched the sky. Among the square stone structures of Chichén Itzá stands a circular building unlike the rest. The Spanish called it El Caracol, the snail, because the interior staircase spirals upward. But this wasn't for sightseeing. Research suggests its windows and alignments correspond to astronomical events, especially the cycles of Venus, a celestial body linked to war and ritual in Maya cosmology. Which means they weren't just observing the sky. They used it to choose when to act. The pyramid connects to the sun. The cenote connects to water. El Caracol connects to the stars. And when all of these elements converge in one place, you begin to ask, was this city truly only Maya? Or did it carry the imprint of another civilization? Maya, Toltec, a city not purely Maya. Look closely at Chichén Itzá, and you'll notice something different. Warriors carved into columns. Serpent imagery in Central Mexican style. Architectural details unlike classic Maya cities. Scholars call this the Maya-Toltec interaction. But how did it happen? Invasion? Migration? Political alliance? There's no absolute answer. What we know is this. Chichén Itzá was no longer purely Maya. It was a redefinition of power. And the clearest sign of that shift isn't carved into walls. It lies inside the temples. A figure lying on its back, hands holding an invisible offering, as if waiting for something to be placed upon it. Chakmul, the silent intermediary. Inside certain temples stands a strange figure, a man lying on his back, holding a bowl-like tray on his stomach. This is chakmul. The tray is not decorative. It receives offerings. And archaeological evidence suggests that some of those offerings were tied to rituals not meant for the faint of heart. Chakmul is not a god. He is the bridge between humans and the divine. Placed beside the calendar pyramid, the Serpent of Light, the Venus Observatory, you begin to understand. Chichén Itzá was engineered to shape belief. But there was one belief about the Maya that the modern world got completely wrong. 2012, what did we misunderstand? In 2012, the world believed the Maya predicted the end of the world. People looked at their calendar, looked at Chichén Itzá, and assumed a civilization that understood the heavens so deeply must have foreseen something catastrophic. But 2012 was not the end. It was the completion of a time cycle, like December 31st. Not the end of the world, just a turning of the page. The irony? A civilization obsessed with time was misunderstood because of time. And when you look again at El Castillo, 365 steps forming a year. The Serpent of Light appearing on cue, sound echoing like a sacred bird. You start asking, is this coincidence? Or was El Castillo never just architecture, but a deliberate design to turn stone into time? Today, you didn't just see a pyramid. You saw a time machine carved in stone. If you think El Castillo is a breathtaking coincidence of nature, comment, coincidence. If you believe it's an intentional masterpiece of design, comment, programmed. And if you want to keep exploring structures that change the way we see the world, don't forget to subscribe, because this world still has many fascinating secrets waiting to be uncovered.